Warning. This program contains strong language, auditory violence, and mental nudity. It is intended only for mature audiences. Listener discretion is advised. Welcome to your uncensored home for all things Warcraft. With your hosts, Berzerker and Navox, this is Unshackled Fury. As Zhara has risen at last, we're pathfinding our way to glory, and we are Mechagon. Welcome back for episode 55 of the Unshackled Fury podcast, your uncensored home for all things Warcraft. I am your host, Berzerker, and with me as always is the Dominic Toretto to my Brian O'Connor. He is Navox. Welcome back again, sir.
And I live my life a quarter mile at a time. And for those 60 seconds or less, I'm free. Actually, I should have went with my lower Dominic Toretto voice.
Ooh.
There. No.
Ooh. Ooh, you sound like you're about to smoke some fools off the line now.
You almost had me. You never had me. You never had your car. Granny shifting, not double clutching like it's supposed to.
Now be Groot.
What's that?
Now be Groot.
Now be Groot. Oh, okay.
I am Groot.
That's good.
I am Groot. No, that's like young Groot right there. I don't know.
This is what happens when we let you off the leash.
Yeah, off the leash, off the rails. No, exactly. Now you know that that movie was. I saw it on Twitter last week. Is it already? It came out in the 90s. I think it's 20 years old now. I think that movie is 20 years old. Fast and Furious. I think that's what it was on Twitter the other.
That sounds about right.
Last week. Yeah, man.
Yeah. Long enough ago where I was like, I think I saw it, but I don't really remember. I just remember something at the end where they raced and it was all very bro-y.
It's actually quite funny because if I ever want to just egg my wife on, it's a hey, let's watch something we haven't watched before, and then I'll be scrolling through Netflix and I'll just pop on Fast and Furious. And she's like, come on, not this again.
That is tantamount to spousal abuse. You better be careful. All right, well, we are back from plumbing the depths of Nazjatar, and we certainly have had a lot of activity going on in game with patch 8.2 now being live since the last time we were here. They announced, I think the day that we dropped the last episode, that it was coming out the following week or 2 weeks later, so we just missed that announcement. So now here we are, having been able to play a little bit, but since we were here last, I know that you got to do something that most Warcraft players do not get a chance to do, but when they do, it's usually a pretty exciting event. So why don't you tell the folks about the little shindig that you were a part of?
Yeah, so my raid team leaders, Echelani, they were putting together a little get-together for everybody. They do this, I've only been, this is the first time I've ever gone to it, but I know that they did this previous years, where they just do a little raid team get together. They do it because most of us are in the southeast, so they pick a place. It's usually Atlanta, and everybody gets to meet up there. So this past weekend, there were 10 of us that showed up in Atlanta, and we hung out, and we did an escape room. We went to a.
Did you make it out alive?
Oh yeah, oh man, that escape room. Look, I was like, man, okay. So, first of all, let me just say, like, I am believe it or not, I have a little bit of claustrophobia to me, so I didn't know what to expect when you go into one of these rooms. The room wasn't that bad. It was a standard office space. So I was like, okay, this is not bad at all. So I thought it was going to be like really, really tight, especially with 10 people. Not at all. But it was with the group is called Mastermind, and basically the theme of it was someone stole an object from the future, brought it back to the past, and you need to go through the time to figure things out. And it was, honest to God, I got a feeling like it was, it almost feels like you're on a game show, because they've got like they've got a monitor up with your time on it. They did a really bang up job with the theme and the little gizmos and gadgets that are in the room. Like they have touch panels, and you got to figure out puzzles and locks and stuff. If anybody's not done a escape room, it's honest to God, I would love to go do another one of these things with like my team. I'd love to go with my team from work to see if they could actually do this. And I honestly don't think we would have been able to do it if we didn't have the group of 10 people that were in the room, because everybody was helping out, everyone was doing something, so we got through it at a pretty good time.
You were a true raid team in and out of game.
Yeah, exactly. It was a team building experience. So I think that was my favorite part of the whole thing. Besides getting to meet everybody, I think the escape room was my favorite thing, because I said it multiple times. And then I got to meet my buddy Ben, who we've been gaming together since 2013. He was my first raid leader in my old raid team, Boats and Hosen, and so he flew out. I got to meet him finally, and it was like, it's one of those long time coming things. So it was great. And friend of the show, also another raid team member, Jer, showed up. He was there, but all in all, it was really, really nice to meet everybody there. So it was Esh, Lonnie, Junkster, Jer, Chris and Ben, Jade and Eamon, and myself and Lise there. We all got to meet up, so it was really fun. It was nice to get out of Florida for a little bit, I will say. I noticed that the attitude in Georgia, like, people were just genuinely nicer, and I think it's just because of the there's a lot of crabbier people in Florida. Just it's a retirement state, man.
Well, you do live in God's waiting room.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is. And you can tell, you can even tell by like the roads while you're driving up. You're like, yeah, I'm still in Florida. And then in Georgia, it's like, oh, not so bad. I need to get over. Okay, yeah, you can get over. Come on, I'll slow down, let you in. No. It's like, but yeah.
It's always an interesting experience when you meet people in real life.
That
you've been gaming with for a long time, and I know when I've done that with folks at BlizzCon, it's like, holy shit, there's a face to a name. Like, wow, you're a real human being. We're still not going to call each other by our human names. Nobody. That's just awkward.
Nobody knew. Everybody went by their online, and it was. Yeah. And you know what? It is awkward. It's awkward when you go and say Chris or Ben, or instead of going, your in-game character, use the in-game character names. It makes things so much easier, and it's less awkward using your character names and real life names. It's
Oh yeah, and because I recall when I met Lonnie and Ash at BlizzCon a few years ago, and when I met Lonnie and them, and I told her specifically, I was like, you don't have to, just come in by my my real name. No, you're Berserker. We can't not call you Berserker. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nope, no problem. We can do that too. So yeah, well, good for you. You finally got to meet the folks in person. Now you're bonded forever.
That's right.
You can never turn back. And then in the meantime, you certainly have been playing the new patch and getting a little bit of a groove there. So I assume. So we'll talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah. Absolutely. Right. Absolutely.
I know on our side, my raid team finally got a heroic Jaina kill, and that was good to clear the decks, because I don't think that we had done that prior to the last episode. So it was good to get that right before the new patch Kane.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Seriously, congratulations. That fight sucks. It sucks. It still sucks.
A very challenging fight, and I appreciate what they're doing there. And oddly enough, after banging away, we got the kill. Everyone was alive.
That's awesome.
And
that's even better.
Everybody hit the timing right, and it worked out great. So
did you get anything good?
I didn't get jack shit. I got an achievement. That's what I got.
Okay,
and,
all right.
A little bit of heartburn, and then finally got some sleep. So that is good enough for me, and it was good. It was good to clear the deck on that, heading into 8.2, so that way we don't have that hanging over us, and we have a few weeks to decompress to some degree. As we talked about on the last episode, try to stave off some of that burnout a little bit. Enjoy the new stuff in the new patch. In the meantime, outside of game, I am attempting to join the ranks of being a smoke boy, as I now have a smoker for barbecue.
Oh, yes. Awesome.
And it's
what did you get?
It's just this little half squat one that I got for Father's Day that somebody gave me.
So I got to send you some stuff.
It's you don't have to send me shit. Trust me,
no,
I have plenty.
Nope. I'm sending you something.
Okay.
I got the perfect thing for you.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's just a little charcoal deal. Some master built MCS 10, I think is the. I mean, it's like a $50 Lowe's deal. It's super cheap. But I did a test burn this weekend, kind of breaking it in, getting a vibe for it. And
what'd you make?
Huh?
What did you make?
Nothing. It's a test. It's a test burn. You got to burn it in, but you got to get everything dialed in. Right. You got to figure out the the idiosyncrasies of your smoker. That's job one. But I will on the 4th of July be smoking some ribs using my tried and true borrowed 3-2-1 recipe of 3 hours unwrapped, 2 hours wrapped, 1 hour unwrapped, with some hickory and some cherry wood. And I will probably document this. So if it goes well, you might see it on Twitter. If it doesn't go well, I will pretend I never had this conversation. I will erase.
Dude, it's the 4th of July. You have to take photos of everything you're smoking.
Well, I need to document. So I will smoke those ribs in the name of all the Alliance who fell into Nazjatar and got stuck. So
the boar ribs.
Yeah, I will claim it to them. So that's what I've been up to outside of game. But yes, inside of game, we have patch 8.2. It's finally here in all of its glory, with new zones and new crap to do and changes to the Heart of Azeroth system and a whole 9 yards. And we will get to that. But first, we do have our Rage segment, as is customary on this show, something we're getting a little wigged out about. And this week, we might start a little trouble ourselves with this one, but we're going to dive into it anyway because, well, that's what we're here for. So let's go ahead and head into our Rage.
Let's rage.
So, along with patch 8.2, we had an announcement from Big Daddy Blizzard saying that they were doing a new promotion of a 6-month subscription. If you bought a 6-month subscription, they were going to give you this new mount, Silverian Dreamer, I think is how you say it. And it's a pretty cool looking fucking mount. It's got this sort of dragon-esque features to it, and the wings swirl and change colors, and it's a crazy looking bastard. And part of it is that not only are you getting this mount, but you're actually getting a discount on the term. So for 6 months, you're paying, I think it's on average like $12 a month or something like that. So you're getting a pretty good discount. And in the end, if you factor in the cost of the mount, if you wanted to buy the mount on its own at $25, it all kind of evens out. But just so happens I had just sunk in for a 6-month rent on this game. So I was already in the pool on this, so I got the mount for free. As I think
I did too.
Many other people did, which I'm going to be playing the game 6 months from now, so why not?
Exactly.
Why pay $15 a month when I can pay less? So anyway, we had that going on. I thought that was cool. I saw a lot of other people getting pretty excited, like, wow, look at this mount. This is pretty cool. You know, I'm thinking about doing the 6-month deal. from a business side, I can understand. It kind of makes sense. There's typically a lull in the summertime, and so this keeps people engaged. And yeah, there's a business end of it. And that kind of brings us to the point of where we're going with this is we have in our community a very well-known individual by the name of Asmongold. And he has made no secret as to the fact that he, I'd say detests probably is an understatement, these store mounts, things that are obtained through a store, microtransactions, that sort of deal. And there was a post that got around on Twitter, got a lot of traction, a lot of responses going back and forth. And it was essentially where he had stated that store mounts are a cancer to the game. Pretty strong words. And my understanding is that he even went further and told people on his stream or somewhere else that if you see people who had purchased in-game mounts, that you should spit on them.
Classy.
So,
yeah,
I know that I saw a lot of hysteria going on about this, and people, yes, this is shit, or oh, what's the problem, or whatever whatever the problem is. And I, for the life of me, cannot understand at this point, after this long, after 9 years of there being an in-game store, that people are still having a problem accepting that this is where we are.
Right.
I can give you, as is part of the argument that was made, that if you buy a game and its expansion, that everything within that expansion should be available to you without an extra cost. I understand that perspective and that perspective alone. However, if you didn't have a 6-month subscription, you could still earn this mount with in-game gold. It's ever since they introduced the whole money in the auction house and the whole thing, that argument has been negated. So I don't want to hear anything about what it costs or money and this and that and transactions. I know people that farm millions of gold and can plunk down cash easily on this in terms of in-game without ever spending a legitimate dime. No currency, no real currency, other than their subscription, which they pay anyway. Then there's the part of this argument that I just do not understand, which is that somehow this makes the game worse, or it does something to the game. This has no effect on the game. I don't understand how this does anything to gameplay. I don't understand how this does anything to my mindset as a player. There are 13 mounts currently available through the store. Most of the time I forget they exist. I have a couple of them because I thought they were cool and I didn't want to have to farm up the gold to get them, so I just paid for them. Or they were part of some promotional deal. I know at least one of them was part of a charity program. So yeah, I buy into stuff like that, but this repeated going to the well of this is bad for the game, this is, it's cancer to the game. Come on. I get hyperbole to some degree, but going to that length and then suggesting to your viewers that they then go out and harass other players, that is not what we need. That is not helpful in any way. And this kind of behavior just cannot be tolerated. And I'm continually surprised, especially after last episode, we talked about another show that this individual is involved with, although the issue had nothing to do with him, that there is continued support there by Blizzard and that there's a connection there. If there is any kind of partnership that goes forward after behavior like this, listen, we're nobodies. We have no power, no authority, or anything like that. So it doesn't matter really what we say in a larger context, but for our little, let's say, sphere of influence, please do not engage in this kind of behavior. If somebody else wants to go out and buy a store mount, big whoop-de-doo. It affects my gameplay none. I'm going to step out of the box here, and I'm going to pull in a political argument. Gay marriage has no effect on my life directly in my house and my marriage.
Exactly.
It makes no difference what relationship somebody else is in to the relationship that I am in. With this, if somebody else wants to go buy something in an in-game store, it doesn't affect my gaming at all. As far as I can tell, it doesn't affect the game at all. If you don't like the sort of monetary grab, okay, fine, I understand that. But it is a business, and this is what they do. Activision Blizzard is in the business of making money. we happen to benefit from that the thing they make money by doing is making a game that we love and enjoy. But they're still going to find ways to make deals and do bundles and that kind of stuff. And that is the way it has been for quite some time. That is the way that it is going to be. And no amount of tantruming is going to change that. And I think that we need to get to a point where we accept this is how it is now. Either you engage with that or you don't. If you say, I'm not for in-game stuff that you have to buy with real money, then don't buy it. Don't buy it. Protest with your dollar.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. You said it. And, you know, this type of, it's toxicity in the community. And, you know, Blizzard has said time and time again, you know, we're trying to cut down on that. Well, you know, I don't know. Time to put up or shut up. I mean, seriously. I don't know why time and time again, I honestly don't understand. First of all, I don't understand the amount of people that he draws in to, you know, to watch him play World of Warcraft, and World of Warcraft is his well. I mean, that's where he keeps going to play games. You know, it's, you know,
and to an
he
extent,
keeps going back to it.
I do understand, because I remember when there were just instructional guides on how to be a warrior and how to play warrior class and stuff like that, and those videos were great. I thought they were very useful, very helpful.
Sure.
And that was why I became a fan to begin with.
Right.
And the streams and then sort of the community aspect of doing mount runs and these other things, that stuff is great. And that should be encouraged. And that I can understand. But this is just mob mentality.
Yeah, it's just mob mentality. Absolutely. Just mob mentality. And you know, for somebody who does, you know, in the past he does, all right, let's do mount offs. Okay, well, I have this mount, and I have this mount, and I have this mount. And, you know, you bought your mounts too. So, I mean, I don't get it.
Yeah, it's disappointing because...
Yeah, it is. It absolutely is disappointing.
I think that this is an individual, and there are others in this vein that have a lot that they bring to the table. But then when we go off in these directions, to me, it's I'm more disappointed than angry, actually. It's like, you know, you've been doing this a long time. This shtick, we get it. You know, you're an edgelord. You know, you like to go against the grind and things like that. We get it. We totally get it. Yeah, I mean, we have a shtick too. It's called Unshackled Fury, and we're raging on something. Like, I get it.
Exactly it. Right. And, but enough's enough. And I don't know.
Again, I would encourage anybody that wants to engage in this behavior, please check yourself. It's not the kind of thing that we need. If you really are that upset about it, just don't engage. Don't buy the thing. Yeah. I'm serious. Vote with your dollar or lack thereof. If they put these things out, these programs out, these bundles and packages and mounts and whatever, and you don't buy them, they will notice. And that didn't work. There was a lot of backlash. People didn't buy these things, or you know, other ways that they have of measuring metrics on the success of these kinds of campaigns. They will know, and they will do something different. But people buy this stuff. People like these things. People like this mount. And I think the other part of this that I find more distressing is that there are people that worked on this mount that are excited to see this out in the wild, to see people enjoying the hard work that they've put in. And now here is this beautiful mount that's out there and it's doing its thing. And there was a lot of positive reaction to it initially. And now there's this negative connotation to it because you have a well-known member of the community going out there and telling people, hey, if you see somebody with a store mount, spit on them.
Yeah.
We don't need that. So, again,
no.
I think we can do better. And, folks, I think it's a great deal. I mean, nobody's giving me anything. I'm just out here. You are just out here. We're just playing the game. And, you know what? I basically just got a free mount for having my subscription, so I'm not going to complain. So
same here.
But I'm sure we'll get some ats and some replies and people telling us to, you know, go to certain places of the nether regions. And, you know, hey, to each his own, man. So, enough about this. We've got plenty of good stuff to talk about with 8.2 and our enjoyment, or I don't know, maybe lack thereof, depending on what specific parts of this we're talking about. But let's go ahead and jump into our news and talk about all that is patch 8.2. All right, so Rise of Azara, finally here, in our faces, loaded up, rocking and rolling, ready to go. We're questing and slaying all kinds of beasts and looking for rares and flying in jetpacks and all kinds of crazy stuff.
Right.
Let's start with you, Nav. And you come in, patch is live. Where are you heading? What are you doing? What was your experience like?
All right, so when the patch launched, the first, you get the quest when you log in, but the first thing I did before everything else was transmog, shirt, shoulders, gloves, everything off the top.
Oh,
so top, yeah, done. Like I was trying to make my Conan the Barbarian outfit, which
I thought you were going full Florida summer.
I could do that too, and that.
Can you get like a mankini?
I have something like that, but it's those woolly pants.
But that's not in game. Oh
no.
Sorry, we're not supposed to talk about
Actually, no, funny story. What's funny is, I've been chasing down those Arathi Warfront shoulders, the lion shoulders.
Yes.
Those things dropped for me today on my Paladin. I got them finally.
My God.
I forgot to top of the show with that, but yeah, they finally dropped, and I'm like, that's awesome. I'm not wearing them on my warrior ever since they're letting us transmog our stuff with our shirts off now.
So you finally got them, and now you don't show them.
Finally got them. I'm not even using them.
Forget these other people. You're the problem. Bitching and complaining, and then you finally get the thing, and you're not even showing it.
Not even going to use it.
Golly.
Nope.
I take it back, Asmongold. Nav is the problem, not you.
I am trying to find the perfect Conan the Barbarian outfit. So I'm looking for help from all of our listeners and anybody who, does transmog stuff. So if you find a really nice plate looking Conan the Barbarian set, tweet it out to at unshackled_fury with ideas and include links and stuff like that so we can see your ideas for that, because I'm trying to make that not the limited amount of armor, but I want to make like a berserker looking character. It's like what it looks like. So anyway, after I do that, after I transmog, I get my quest to go to Nazjatar, and I was blown away. Don't need to say I'm blown away by the cinematics. We're always blown away by the cinematics. Really, really cool stuff. The intro quest to Nazjatar is awesome. Nazjatar is awesome. And but yeah, I actually felt like I was stuck in that zone because I quested. I didn't unlock Mechagon till today. Like, had we recorded earlier in the day, I would have told you how disappointed I have been so far, because all I've done is just all Nazjatar stuff. That's it. Mm-hmm. It feels like cruel chores, because that zone has a lot of different layers to it.
Yes, it does.
It has a lot of different layers, and it's somewhat annoying to know where to go for some of these items and some of your quests. And I did the wrong thing with my follower initially. I picked the hunter the first day, then the warrior the second day, instead of just going back to the same person and raising their level up.
Yeah.
I unlocked that entire zone, and then the patch 8.2 came out. It was last Tuesday, right? It was last Tuesday, and then Friday I went away on vacation. But from Tuesday to Friday, I was just doing quests within Nazjatar. That was it. I didn't get to do anything in Mechagon at all. So, I was feeling really, really like this really sucks. Like I did all the intro stuff. I did my Heart of Azeroth unlock, and I'm running around this zone trying to kill stuff, and everything seems to swarm. Yeah, if you pull something, it seems like you pull like 30 things at one time. And I was like, man, this is just this feels like chores and stuff like that. But then, you know, I went away. I didn't log in the game or do anything over the weekend because I was real busy. So, and then when I got back yesterday, I didn't want to log in. I was exhausted from the drive. And then today I logged in this morning, and I'm like, you know what? Today's just, we're gonna, you know, fuck around today. We're not doing a whole lot. I'm just gonna play some World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
And got in the game, and again, I did all my daily quests. I logged into the game 30 minutes prior to the emissary quest resetting. So then I ran around Nazjatar, and then I ran around it again, because you had to go once the world quest reset. I had to go back and get my follower again, and we got him to level 3. I did the scenario. I don't, you know, there's a scenario that you get from Jaina that you complete after you get to rank 3, and then you close the zone out by doing a quest that allows you to break Bane out of prison. It does the whole story. It leads up to a cinematic that's also really cool. And then I was like, okay, well now I'm gonna go do Mechagon, because I think I've seen everything I need to see with this zone right now, and I'm getting frustrated. So then I went to Mechagon and did that, and then things got a little bit more fun. But then, you know, initially that's what I did, and then when I went to Mechagon, I did all the intro quests, and now I'm a little frustrated because there's certain quests that I'm not sure what to do or whatnot. It's a hodgepodge of things to do in Mechagon. It's I don't know. But how about you? How are you taking in a new patch?
Well, I've been having a blast. I don't know. I don't seem to be having some of the same consternation after this patch. I guess before I get into it, what is it that's just not clicking for you, or what's hitting for you?
Okay, for example, when I unlocked Mechagon, you get these quests, and I did all the intro quests, and some of these quests are cut and dry. Go kill this, go do this, go do this, and this and this and that. And for the most part, I was able to figure out the majority of what I needed to do based on in-game design with the quests. Like, the quests will show you on the map where to go, what to do. I have a couple add-ons for handy notes add-ons, things like that. Now I got this quest called Cog Frenzy's Construction Frenzy. It's Cog Frenzy's Construction Frenzy, and there's not a lot of information on this quest. That just says contribute to construction projects, and you get this little percentage bar. Great. I'm trying to figure out WTF, like, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to build? What am I supposed to be doing here? And all I could figure out was that I needed to kill things, and then I got frustrated. I asked General, and you know what? I will say this. I asked General Chat, and General Chat, somebody whispered me and said, hey, look, I had the same problem. Go over to, I forget what the place is called. It starts with a B. It's a place in the zone, and you just sit there, kill stuff, and wait for the little, there's like the spark thing that spawns next to one of the little gnomes with the blue question mark on it. And when it goes away, just contribute to things there, and then that'll get you to completion. And then that did. Right before we recorded, I completed it, and that was it.
Gotcha.
I just, the majority of the answer is just go to Wowhead. Just go to Wowhead. Go to Wowhead. I absolutely love Wowhead. I will use Wowhead. I do use Wowhead. It's not that I'm not using Wowhead, but I want the in-game things. If I'm playing a game, for example, if I'm playing an Xbox game, or if I'm playing any other game, I don't want to have to pause the game to open up a browser to try to figure out what to do. I want to be able to try to figure it out in game. And some of these quests, I don't know. It just seems like, I guess the best way to describe Mechagon is maybe content saturation, I guess, because you've got so much going on in that zone, and then on top of that, you've got rares spawning at the same time. You're like, ooh, I want to kill these rares.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, oh, so and so's up. Okay, well, so and so's up. Okay, well, so and so's up.
Like
well, that's
Timeless
great.
Isle.
Instead of going like so and so's up, here's the coordinates to get there. Now, even if you did that, so and so is up and here's the coordinates to get there. I'm trying to think, like, if somebody didn't have add-ons for this, they wouldn't know what the fuck to do and where the fuck to go to find these things. And that got a little frustrating because I was trying to figure out, okay, so and so's up. Okay, well, I figured out where things were, and then I would run over to the rare spawn, and people would be like, okay, well, it's at 50% and still no coordinates. Okay, well, it's at 30% and still no coordinates. People are like, where the hell are you guys killing this thing? And it just got frustrating because you get there and things would be dead. Well, the nice thing is this. I think Blizzard had heard about this earlier. I think somebody else, I think the community was kind of upset about this. And they said they're working to resolve some issues on this quickly, where they're increasing the health of all of the lowest health rare spawns in both Nazjatar and Mechagon to help more players get the chance to hit them before they die. They also scale in health faster as more players tap them. That's a welcome change. So
give you a little more time to get there.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it's just going to be a matter of just getting used to the new shiny, getting used to the new zone, and figuring things out. I love WoW, and I'll figure it out. But it's not. I don't know. Timeless Isle was, wow, this is great. This is awesome. I love this zone. This is so cool. Such a great add-on. This, that, and the other. This one, I'm like, it's cool. Don't get me wrong. These two new zones are amazing. They're really, really cool. I did this thing where I jumped on this pad. I don't know how I did this. There's this anti-gravity pad that shows up, and then you can fly around all of Mechagon with it. And then you have 19 minutes. Or it's a 20-minute buff, and then you can... It's a jetpack, right? You look like Iron Man. It actually puts you in a pose like either... when I first saw it, I was like, you were looking like Superman or Iron Man or something in the sky, and it looks really cool. And, but the more, the more I get into it, the more I play it. I'll play a little bit more after we record tonight. I'll get used to it, and I'm sure my tone will change by the our next recording. It'll probably change. I'll probably be like, oh, this is fun. I'm having a lot of fun. This, that, and the other. But right now, it's not that I'm not having fun. It's just that I'm not like blown away with excitement so far. So I guess that's. I mean, it's. I'm not gonna say unpopular opinion. I don't like this patch. I'm just not completely blown away by it so far. So yeah.
Yeah, I can't say I've had those problems. I don't know. So far everything that I've dealt with has seemed pretty intuitive, and I know that we've had these discussions in the past about Wowhead kind of being this necessary ancillary, but I don't know. So far, I haven't really had to consult them. And going back to the intro part of Nazjatar, I was pretty surprised at the scale of the zone, and it's because of the levels that you talked about, and where it sounds like you're having some frustration with it. I actually thought it was some brilliant world building, because you're taking what's essentially if you look at it just as a circle, it's not that big, but when you weave in all of the various layers that they've been able to work into that space, they've almost tripled how much room there is in that whole area, it feels like, because you're going down into tunnels, or you're going up onto a ledge somewhere, you're going and doing these different things, and it has these diverse sort of ecosystems in various areas, and so you really feel like, at least I do, that you're in a bunch of different areas all contained within the one zone. And I've really enjoyed that. I think that the music, and I don't know if this is intentional or not, but there are portions of the zone music in Nazjatar that are very Westworld-esque. There's at least one little bit that's in there, and I'm like, damn, this sounds like the intro to Westworld. So I don't know if somebody was just listening to that or watching the show a whole bunch while they were creating that,
I gotcha.
that music. But I've really enjoyed it. I've enjoyed the story, getting to meet our sort of Jinyu Part 2 allies, going into Nazjatar and furthering that story. The bodyguard system, which... What?
No, go ahead, finish your thing, because I have a story about the bodyguard.
I was going to say the bodyguard system, which I talked about before, hoping it would be more compelling. I mean, I'm finding that when it's on its mount, it's actually getting in my way more. And this is sort of reminiscent to Warlords of Draenor when we had the little shrinker deal. Because, yeah, they're there, and I think they're doing something, but other than being part of the campaign that I'm trying to play out and leveling them up, I'm not seeing a lot of value out of them yet, but it's probably, at least I'm willing to say at this point, because they're not a high enough level yet to come in and be that much of an effect into what I'm doing. But so far, the questing makes sense where we're going in. We're having to try to partition off the horde hostilities to focus now on Azara, who has made herself... She's kind of doing the Lich King thing, where she's made something happen to bring people to her, and now she's kind of popping up in ghost form every now and again and saying, ha ha ha, I trapped you bastards, and now come get me, and it's done. And I really love what they've done with her character, which is this supremely confident individual who is like, I think I'm just going to fuck with you a little bit more. I could kill you, but I'm not going to yet because I'm still having fun. Here's some stuff here and there that I'm just going to do because I can. And I have really enjoyed that, I guess, pathway that they've chosen for that character. I thought it was great that we got to the one part in that zone where you quest through and they sync it up to the Warbringer short with Azara, so you're at that spot where she was holding back the wall and everything went to hell, and you got to see all of that again. And I haven't watched that Warbringer short in quite some time, and man, it's so good. And I still really find it creepy and scary and really good for what it's supposed to do. So being able to go around in that zone, see all those places, this is a long fabled zone. And to be able to be there from a lore sense is pretty cool. To see, this ancient night elf civilization that's now gone. It's the high elf kind of deal. She was the original. This is where we had the Well of Eternity and all of this. There's such heavy lore business going on in this zone, and all of the deep ties to it. For somebody like me that's a lore junkie, it's a lot of fun to go in there and to see all this stuff now visualized in the game, and like, this is where it is, this is where they are, this is who they are. So I really enjoyed that. And then eventually getting over to Mechagon, which I'm not into the gnomes. The gnome thing doesn't do it for me. Right. But I gotta say, those Mechagnomes are pretty fucking cool. Like,
yeah, they are pretty cool.
Seeing those things up close, I like what they're doing. The whole... It's almost like a cyberpunk-esque vibe with these guys, where you got the king who's trying to turn everybody back. In a way, he's just trying to bring it back to the original form, because if you know your lore, originally the gnomes were created, and then there was the curse of the flesh, and then they became what we know now, and yada, yada, yada. That's for another podcast. But it's an interesting take, and the way that they build up the rebellion there, so when you're part of the Rustbolt Rebellion and what you're doing there, I find that pretty compelling. I've enjoyed the quest, the daily quest. You're hopping on geysers, you're jumping on different things, you're feeding animals, which I noticed there's some sharding issues where stuff is disappearing on folks, but it looks like they might try to help out with that a little bit. But I have really enjoyed the variety as I've gone through the zones, and I do like the jetpacks. I think the jetpacks are super fun. The schematics and the whole building of junk, and I've almost been able to build that Mechanicat thing, so I'll have a new mount here soon that I didn't have to pay for.
I know. I'm at that point too. I actually have a couple, like 3 or 4 more pieces, and I can build that cat, which it wasn't that hard to get. So that is pretty cool. Yeah.
So I have enjoyed that variety, and I think that the story has taken a direction that I'm still with at this point. It's still believable for me, and it makes sense for where I'm going and what we're doing. So, yeah, I would say that for me, being able to explore all that has been great. And then the larger campaign where we have to go down into Orgrimmar, where I haven't been in a long time, to go down into the siege of Orgrimmar zones and go save Bane and that whole storyline. That's some heavy duty shit.
Oh yeah, that was I loved that. That was great.
Yeah, but before we get to that, because we're going to talk about that in depth, because I think there's a larger conversation we want to have about that specifically. But you had a story you wanted to share.
Oh yeah, so today I was because I was questing and I had the warrior bladesman Wari. I was like, man, I love the voice acting of this follower, and I'm like, this sounds so familiar. I'm like, I was like, this sounds like the guy who voiced or who played Ronan in Guardians of the Galaxy and Captain Marvel. I'm like, this, and he was also, he was in The Hobbit. Also, he was one of the elves in The Hobbit.
Lee Pace is the actor.
Lee Pace is the guy's name. Yes. So I was like, this sounds like this guy. So I just, out of curiosity, I tweeted out Andrea Toyas, and who's the voice. She is the voice, director of voice acting at Blizzard for all of their in-game stuff. And I tweeted at her. I said, hey, who's the actor for this? And she said, believe it or not, the incredibly powerful voice of our Bladesman was voiced by the chameleon that is Deborah Wilson. She said, we pitch shifted her voice, but dear God, the power and presence was all Deborah. She blows my mind every time. I was like, Deborah Wilson, she was on Mad TV, and I was like, oh my God. I was like, that was amazing. I would not have, I was like, I didn't want to go out there and be like, wow, this sounds like Lee Pace, and then have her go, it's actually this person, because I didn't want somebody's the voice just sounds amazing. I was like, this is great, but yeah, it was really cool. I was really, really taken back and surprised. They do a really good job.
She's great, and if you play the second Wolfenstein game, she's awesome in that too. She's one of the main characters, and she's phenomenal.
Cool. Yeah.
Really, really good voice actor. But yeah, so one of, if not, I think the biggest central events that we had early on in this patch comes after you've leveled up one of your followers. You have to get them up to level 3, and you start to progress through the main campaign again. And for Alliance, you're going through Jaina. And this gets down to the part where you have to go down, like I said, into Orgrimmar, into the old Siege of Orgrimmar areas, which apparently they've been taken over by the goblins now, so there's all kinds of random crazy shit down there. But you go down there, and you save Bane, and when you're going through there, guess who shows up for the Horde? Well, Green Jesus is back.
Green Jesus. Oh, yeah, he doesn't like him when we call him Green Jesus.
Oh. I won't call him.
Yeah.
Oh. Sorry. Light
yes,
green Jesus.
It was awesome.
That's it. Yeah, so Thrall. Thrall is back. Thrall shows up with Sarfang, and they help bust Bane out with the combined forces of Jaina and our rogue buddy from SI7. So they're all getting together, and at the culmination of that, they save Bane, get to Thunder Bluff, drop him off, and we get a cinematic. We get one of those pretty good in-game cinematics. This isn't the full-on, fully realized, looks like it's in the real-world ones, but it's the most high-fidelity ones that we get in-game. And you had mentioned this in the past before, Nav, and I know that we've had this conversation offline a few times, is that in the cinematic, they touch on something that I think a lot of people have talked about over the years, and or at least they kind of hint or broach the idea of, is it necessary to have the Horde and the Alliance? Is there some other way to go about this? Because Thrall talks about, and it really is kind of this catharsis, I think, for him, or it's this a confession, almost like a confessional of, I have failed so many times. Look at all of these atrocities that have occurred. He talks about Garrosh. He talks about Theramore. He talks about all this stuff, and Jaina seems to think, hey, maybe we could work together again. And he brings up the point that a lot of the players bring up, which is, but it always falls apart.
Right.
What is going to be any different at this point? And that seems to be the crux of an argument we've seen lots of times. Jaina, I think, curtails that, or at least her stance seems to curtail that somewhat, in my opinion, by saying, well, we are different now. Mm-hmm. Which to me kind of cuts the head off that argument and saying, well, yeah, I see that, but we're different now, so obviously it's going to be cool. But they did mention that, and that is not something I think they would do lightly. So for you, Nav, it looks like this cinematic not only sets up the rebellion to come against Sylvanas and this alignment of certain Horde forces to try to wrest control back from her, but do you think that this signals the beginning of a meaningful shift to a third or neutral faction?
Absolutely. And I think we're going to see more of this at BlizzCon. The storytelling is right. It's like, we've changed. Well, yeah, it's gotten to that point because, we have our friends, and then we've still got that separation of, hey, what are you doing tonight? Oh, well, we're raiding, we're short. Well, I'd love to come help you, but I play Alliance and you play Horde, so I can't really come and help you out. In the grand scheme of things, what I think's going to happen though is that, again, you've got the Horde leaders that are all in sync with each other at this point. I mean, you don't. Besides Sylvanas, let's keep Sylvanas on her own separate thing.
Yeah.
Saurfang, Thrall, Jaina, Anduin, Bane. And Bane and Anduin are very, very good friends, and they're on opposing sides, and it's gotten to that point where it's just, and even in the end, towards the end, Varian even was, assembling the entire fleet with Sylvanas and Vol'jin against the Burning Legion back then. So you saw a little bit of it there, and then things fell apart again because, they deserted us, and okay, so they betrayed us, and that put us back into that strife again.
Which was just a misunderstanding, really.
It was just a misunderstanding, exactly.
Yeah.
And then, but now we're dealing with a more, morally gray thing about it. Sylvanas, who's just straight up, warmongering at this point. And, she's got a plan all along. Well, I don't really think so. Not with the way she's got a plan. She's got Sylvanas' plan. She doesn't have, the best interest of the Horde, and, for her,
So how do you think a third faction would work?
So we've seen, two ways. One, Blizzard has been experimenting with this AI in game. We've been playing against it when we do our war fronts. We've been playing, we've been doing it on islands. We've seen it firsthand what it can do.
Yeah.
One, I feel like we may get a third faction out of that. Two, there may come a point in game where you may be asked to choose either one, if you want to go this route, or two, if you want to choose a different route. And it might be that you pick this and you may not be able to switch back for a certain amount of time, but they can't do it permanent because people will want to be like, okay, I've had enough of this. I'm gonna want to go play with my friends, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling that maybe Sylvanas' faction, however people go with Sylvanas, they will stay. You could have it so that the Alliance and the Horde can finally group together, work together, do whatever, and then you could have a faction that follows Sylvanas as well. And this could work out in a number of ways too, because one, even if it doesn't really affect PvP because you're still doing red versus blue, you're still attacking people. When you go out on the battlefield in a PvP situation, I'm not like, oh look, there's an orc, there's this, there's that. Everybody's red at that point. You just target somebody, they're their hit point bar comes up and they're red, and you can target them and you can kill them. You can do whatever you want.
Well, would
but
that
yeah,
be something where
feeling
maybe you select on loadout which side you go with?
Yeah, that or it may be a turning point on a quest. A quest may pop up and say, "Hey, look, by making this decision, you are selecting to follow Sylvanas, or you are selecting to follow Thrall and the Horde and this alliance, and the alliance and Horde melding type deal." And and who knows? It could just be for the remainder of this expansion that they're going to let us group together to raid together to try to defeat Sylvanas, because something's going to have to happen in the end where we face Sylvanas, and this, Ashar is not the end here. We still, Sylvanas, I think, is the main. Ashar is a very big part of this, but I feel like Sylvanas is the biggest part of this expansion in the end, and her transition and what happens to her at the end. And
assuming that this is the end, because this could just be a chapter of a longer story, right? And
this really could just be a chapter of a longer
escapes to another day.
Yeah, you know what? And it very well could be that, because I'm trying to think in my head, like, okay, so we're doing the battle for Azeroth, which is we're trying to save Azeroth, and then we're all in this battle together. The Horde and Alliance. We still got the big sword sitting out there in Silithus. Like, what the hell are we gonna do with that thing? Like, seriously, it's still out there. Yeah, so we'll know more at BlizzCon, but I have a feeling they're going to be like, hey, you've always wanted to raid with your friends. Well, now, Horde and Alliance, you guys are going to get to do that. And that'd be really, really awesome. I would welcome that. I would love that. But yeah, to answer your question about, again, just going back to that, I really feel like it's just going to be a combination of players will select to follow Sylvanas. You can be part of that faction, or it'll be part of the AI also, and you can we'll be fighting the AI, which is also part of Sylvanas' thing. So
yeah, I'm still skeptical. I just don't know how you would work in, because I think the most common argument that we've seen is that there would be some kind of a neutral faction. And I don't know at this point how you incorporate a third faction into the existing game, unless it's only relevant from this point in the timeline going forward. Like, you have to pick a side going up to essentially this level, and then at this point you can branch off and pick. It's almost like, remember the old days when we had the Berzerker stance quest, where at 30 you could go and get your stance.
Yeah.
But you had to get up to that point. I could see where maybe perhaps they have a third option, but you have to reach a certain point of leveling in order to be able to make that choice, just from a story perspective. But to your point, if they did something like this, I feel like it would be more like a war mode toggle switch deal, where you can flag yourself as being neutral, and you're not attackable, I guess, by either side, and you can just wander freely about the land. But then at the same time, if there's something going on, you can revert yourself back to either Horde or Alliance to take care of business if you have to, or something like that.
Right, yeah.
But I don't know. I'm just too faction loyal, I think, at this point to ever hit that switch. And it's just walking freely around Orgrimmar would feel really weird to me. And I'm sure I would check it out as a tourist, but I would have a hard time doing it. But the third faction is something totally separate, not just being neutral to either side. It's something that we've also talked about before with the Lightborn undead that we had with Kalia Menethil. Where's she at? What's going on? That whole portion of the story that has yet to play out, along with Bolvar's daughter, who's out there somewhere. So there's some of these other threads that are still waiting to be picked at.
Yeah,
and I could see somehow these things intertwining, but perhaps it comes at a later date. But I know you've raised this argument before. They certainly are not going to tamp down any expectations with that cinematic, but I really enjoyed the way that played out. I think that the reckoning that has occurred with past sins was really well played. So I enjoyed that, and they continue to keep me vested, and I'll keep following the story all the way to the gates of hell, I guess. All right. Well, I think that does it for this episode, and we'll certainly have lots to talk about in future episodes about 8.2 as all of this unfolds. We have a raid coming, and we'll talk about dungeons and all kinds of other stuff. So we're just barely scratching the surface, but I think that's going to do it for today. Other than this fine program, where can the good people find you on the internet, Navox?
You can find me out on Twitter and Twitch. I am at NAV_OX.
As for me, you can always find me on Twitter at Berzerker Rage, and this show at Unshackled_Fury. Feel free to contact this show with your questions, comments, or otherwise at unshackledfuryshow@gmail.com. And you can find this show on SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Play. And a note on those items, I understand that when we get reviews and different things, it's actually quite helpful to spread the word. So if you listen to the show, you like the show, tell a friend, leave us a review. Apparently it's good. So if you feel so inclined, feel free to throw one of those down. We'd appreciate it. So once again, thank you for listening. Remember to keep your swords wet and your banners high. We'll see you next time. Farewell.